Okay, Bella, let's do this. Hi everyone, this is Bobbi of Knitter's Niche. This is episode 2. And today we're going to be going over a few of my works in progress and also of my finished objects. The first one was actually a work in progress, and all I had done was the neckband, and that was during episode 1, which was 2 weeks ago. I actually got this done in a week and a half. I knit it in universal yarn. I knit it in the bamboo pop, and the color is called Darling Pink. It's very drapey. It feels very cool to the skin. When I blocked it, however, it did not quite block as well as my first one, which was done in merino wool, which is Koiku Premium Merino Wool. And it did block out a little bit nicer. However, this has a little bit more drape to it. I did do it a little bit longer. And my sleeve's just a little bit longer. I did knit it with US number 9 needle, which is what I had done my previous one also. And this is a DK weight, and I had made a mistake during episode 1, and I had said that the Koiku Premium Merino Wool was a DK, and it's not. It does have a recommended US 3 to be used with that yarn. So that kind of puts it on the little heavier end of a fingering weight. But they both knit up delightful, and I had so many comments from my episode 1 about all the different Ranunculus sweaters that people have already knit, and some were on number 4. So this is my second one. I've knit 2 so far. So I'm just thrilled with this. Again, just like I said, the first podcast, I recommend this over and over and over again. A lot of new techniques in this, new ways of thinking about how a sweater is constructed. Because with this sweater pattern, it's all the same for everybody, all through here, until you start doing the raglan. Now that's where the size changes. But the yoke itself, you cast on the same amount for the neckband, and you continue, and then your numbers change, like I said, right when you go to separate or excuse me, when you do the raglan. That's when that changes for certain sizes. I also have another very popular sweater that I had knit. This is my very first sweater I had knit. And not only was it my first sweater, it was my first color work. Now this is definitely a DK weight, and this is a beautiful, beautiful sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and it's so popular. Again, it is a crop sweater, which wouldn't this look adorable with the dress that I have on? This is a sleeveless dress, as you can see, and I've just put my little crop sweaters on top, and voila, I've got an outfit. So this is one way to wear it. I've also worn it with a cami underneath, and which I do have a cami showing here, and I have worn this under the Soldotna, and it looks delightful, just adorable. And you know, this being my first sweater, it wasn't a difficult sweater to knit. It was a little bit daunting to knit it, to do the color work for me, and to do the German short rows, which I had never done short rows ever before, because like I said, it was my first sweater I had ever knit. But isn't she a darling? Isn't it just it's delightful. I just love it. And quite frankly, I thought I did kind of a good job, because the majority of this was done in the car. We were going to a wedding in Missouri, and it was during COVID, so it had been canceled at one point, so they finally got to have the wedding. And I thought, I'm just gonna take my yarn, I'm gonna do this. I took my chart, I had all my little Post-its, you know, and followed along the lines, and I did just fine. I did just fine. I'm not saying I didn't have to go back and fix a couple things, I generally do, and I think a lot of us do, because that's part of knitting and that's part of learning. So that's my Soldotna, a very, very popular sweater that I'm sure a lot of you have knit, and I would recommend that obviously for your first sweater or your first color work sweater. And you know, you really wouldn't even have to do color work if you wouldn't want to. You could just do the sweater itself. So I'm just thrilled with that. And I also have up here, this was a test knit I had done about a year ago. And this here, and it's a cardigan. And this is done in super bulky weight yarn. This is designed by Olann, O-L-A-N-N, Handmade. And her name's Emily. And what she does, she has a few patterns in there for sale in their hats, but what she does, she knits these in very, very, very high-end yarn and sells them for hundreds of dollars. Well, she wanted to go ahead and get a pattern going to sell so other people could knit some of her sweaters. So I'm just going to take this down and show it to you. It's just beautiful. Just look at that raglan on the front. And I really like it on the back. So I'll slip this on here in a second so you can get a good look at it. It's really not very difficult at all. I hadn't used this big of needles in a long time. They were done with 15 and 17. But really it ended up to being a delightful knit. Had a great time knitting that. So let me slip this on and show it to you. Now, last time I checked, I did not see this being available to purchase, the pattern, but I would keep an eye out for that. Again, it's O-L-A-N-N, hand knits. And I'm going to show you the back here. Isn't it beautiful? It's just, I just couldn't get enough of it. Now, this is the small, and I had knit this, in a very inexpensive yarn. And the reason that I had done that is I don't have a local yarn shop here in town. So I had knit it with Hobby Lobby. It's a yarn, oh, it's got alpaca in it. I didn't check, I didn't have the ball band left on that. I do have it on my Ravelry page that you can look that up and see what I'd used too. And I can actually put a little note in here and let you know what it was. It's great with jeans. Oh my goodness, it's great with jeans. You can throw a little cami underneath this. It would be perfect, just perfect. And I'm sure, you know, if you went on Ravelry, you can actually search cardigan and a super bulky weight, open front card. You can type it in there for patterns and it will bring up, it'll tell you how many's there and it'll bring them all up and you can go through. And you might find one very similar if you don't find one just like this, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I will say, this yarn's a little scratchy to me. It is commercial yarn. It's very inexpensive yarn, and I do knit with some very inexpensive yarns occasionally, and I don't see anything wrong with it, not at all, because knitting is knitting, and it's your craft, it's your art. You use what you may, what you'd like. But I will say this inexpensive yarn is just a little scratchy. So I think I just need to wash and block that again, and maybe I can get this to soften up on me a little bit more. But this is a gorgeous, oh, and I didn't even tell you the name of it. It's called the Haven cardigan, H-A-V-E-N cardigan. But it's beautiful. It looks like today, if you've noticed, it looks like everything is kind of a mauve or light pink, featuring today on my episode 2. Okay, and here is another cardigan, and I'll bet you all recognize this one. If you look at the raglan shaping there, the eyelets, and then again in the back. This is the Rift, and isn't it nice? Now, there again, I was out of town and I didn't have a yarn shop to go to, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to pull this up on my phone, the pattern, and I'm just going to knit it. So it is knit and expensive, but you know what? It's pretty soft. I think it's really nice. Changes that I had made. I did a twisted rib instead of just the regular ribbing it called for. Now you see the buttonholes here that I have done. Well, I picked out some buttons and I just got, they were, you know, just pretty average buttons, and I thought, I want something really special on here. So I'm in the search of some really nice buttons. I might go online and possibly find some on Etsy, or if anybody knows of where I might find some very unique buttons, they could, you know, give me a note. Give me a note in the comments down below, and I would be happy to purchase it from someone, to purchase some buttons from someone. And also, I was going to tell you, the episode 1 talked a little bit about brioche. Now brioche, I mentioned a couple things that maybe a beginner might try. Now, and I also said my first brioche was the brioche hug I did for Cozy Up Knits, the sisters, the test knit I had done for them. I said that was the first brioche project I had ever done, the first time I'd ever done brioche. Well, guess what? It wasn't. This was the first brioche project I had ever done. Now, isn't it beautiful? It's so nice. It's a luxurious yarn, just beautiful yarn. This yarn was from the shop that my friend Ruth had years ago, and I had never used it, and I thought, well, I'll do this. This is the pattern. It says how to knit a headband in English rib. And at the time I thought, well, English rib, you know, okay, I'll do that. It's brioche. Now, would I have tried to knit it if I knew it was brioche? Probably not, because I was like, ooh, brioche. I'm probably never going to learn that. But this is free. It's a free pattern. It's on Ravelry. So if you just go on there and put in English Rib Headband, it'll pull right up, and it's free. There's no charge. It is done flat, and then you twist and fold these, and it explains it in the pattern how to do that, and then you just sew it up there. But it's really, really, really cute. I'll just slip it on for you here. Where we live now, it doesn't get very cold, and well, in the, I don't know, late fall, it might get a little chilly, but this just does the job, you know, to keep the wind out of your ears. And for all of you that want to learn to do brioche, do this. This is just, it was easy. The directions were very concise, and I understood absolutely all of it. It was very easy. It could be your first brioche project, something to tackle before you jump into a sweater or a shawl or something like that. And I also found Lion Brand has a free pattern, and this is the Laura Brioche Cowl. And there again, that would be a fantastic first brioche project. I really hope some of you try this. And if you do, let me know. I haven't done the cowl yet, but I really, really want to, because you know, I love brioche. I love the feel of the fabric. I love the texture that it gives. Let me scoot up a little bit and I'll show you what it does. It just has, and it bounces right back. And look at the edge. It's perfect. It's perfect. And it's a project free for anyone that wants to give it a try. And I also had my little bento bag hanging back here, and I didn't have the information about it last week, so let me tell you a little bit about the bento bag. The bento bag is constructed, and it's pretty clever how it's made. Now, it is a paid-for pattern, so I'm really not going to go into how it's made, but let me just say there's squares there. And it's adorable. It is just adorable. It holds several balls of yarn. I have some Koigu Lion Brand yarn I put in here for display, and oh, there's 8 of them in there. And still some room, but it's really cute. And I knit this in a cotton. It's a cotton yarn that I had for quite a while. I'll show you the pattern. The bento bag, and it is by Darling Jadore. Okay, Darling Jadore. And it's just a very, very well written pattern. I thought she did a fantastic job. And what, it is so cute. I mean, you could knit this in cotton. You could knit it, oh goodness, if you had some kind of almost a raffia yarn, that would be really cute for the summer. Really, really cute if you wanted to carry that around as your purse. And Darling Jadore also has this classic camisole. And this classic camisole is a basic camisole, but it is, I did start to knit it, but what I did with it, I thought, well, I'm going to try and do some of my own, add some of my own things to it. I don't have much knit. It's about this much, because I might undo it, and I'm doing it with linen quill, and I might need to use that linen quill for another project I'm working on. But what I had done is I sit and I had knit, oh goodness, I think it's about 10 rows stockinette in the round, and then I thought I'm going to do some eyelet across the bottom. So when it hangs out, for instance, I could layer this under a crop sweater and then have the little eyelet at the bottom. And wouldn't that be darling, hanging out at the bottom? So that is another option if someone was interested. Now, these are both paid for patterns. So, but I do recommend those. Very clever, very well written patterns. And real quick, I'll go back to that Haven cardigan, which was up here that I had test knit, that I tried on a little bit ago. And this is the Haven cardigan by Olann Handmade. O-L-A-N-N. Beautiful. I mean, look at hers in the gold tone. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And this is a picture of the Felix cardigan that I talked about right here. This is the Felix cardigan. It's by Savory Knitting. And this is also paid for pattern. I got mine on Ravelry. Okay. Very good. And also, I was working on camisole number 2. And I have made a little bit of progress with that. And I'll just show you real quick here. This is it. I made a little progress. Not too much. Now it is, I mentioned that it's knit on size 3. And I apologize, I mispronounced the needles. I kept saying koigu yarn, which is what my first Ranunculus is written, and I call these koigu needles, and they're chowgu needles, interchangeable needles. And I know a lot of you are aware of these. And they're stainless steel. They have the red lace, and they have very pointy ends, so you're really able to fly and pick up your stitches really easy with those pointy stainless steel ends. And just to give you a little look at the pattern for the Soldotna Colorwork Sweater. And this is by Caitlin Hunter. Caitlin Hunter is a designer that does a lot of colorwork sweaters. She's a very popular designer. Everything is fit very well. Several sizes, a big range in sizes, something for everyone. And there again, I highly recommend this. I love it. I mean, it couldn't be, now it is a little heavier because I've gotten so used to knitting the Soldotna and everything, all these lighter weight items, like my camisole number 2, using the fingering weight. So when I keep this nice and folded with all my knits, never hang them. Now I have them hanging here just for today's episode, but I would never leave them hanging. Now you don't want to leave knitted garments hanging, because the weight of them, what will happen is they will stretch, and not only will they stretch, you will have this lump here from where the hanger ends. So you don't want to hang them up all the time. But anyway, when I got it out, because I do keep it folded, I store my knits very carefully. I'm very careful with them and take good care of them, because you know, we spend a lot of time on our knitted items and we want to keep them nice. But when I got it out and unfolded it, and I'm so used to these lighter weight sweaters, it's like, oh, this has got a little bit of heft to it. Because when you knit, you're going to have, it's it's almost a double thickness, because these are your floats. They call them floats. So as you're knitting, you carry them on the back of your fabric. You carry to the next one, then you'll pick it up, and you pick up the next color, and so on. So you're going to have more of a thickness, and it is a little, the DK is a heavier weight yarn also, more so than the fingering. But it's adorable. I just love it. I just can't get enough of it. And these remind me of little houses. I don't know, does anybody else think that those remind you of little houses? And these almost remind me of a feather going across there. And you know, it was so well written before I knew it. I mean, I had a pattern going here, all these colors, and I wasn't having any trouble at all. And you just, reading a chart is not hard. Once you read a chart, it's almost like it's easier than reading a pattern that's word for word. So that's the Soldotna. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. In episode 1, I had talked about the knits, one of the knits that I would like to do. Upcoming knit, upcoming project. I love it. Can't wait. And I told you I had all the yarn for it, but I didn't show you the yarn. So I will show it to you now. This is the Feel Good Shawl by Andrea Mowry. And this is the yarn that I'm going to be using. It's going to be bright. It's going to be squishy. It's going to be scrumptious. I like to say that word. And needed 5 colors. So those are the 5 that I have chosen. And I think that's going to be just gorgeous. You might think, well, Bobbi, it looks like most of your knits are a little more subdued. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. But there's a way to use brioche, because you're going to have kind of almost a background color and a foreground color. So they're going to just working off of each other, and almost kind of mellows them out. So I think that's good. I think it's going to look great. And you know what? I'm just going to do a little swatch, and I'm going to decide where my colors are going to go in the different parts of the pattern. And if I need to make some changes, I will. That's what one thing's nice about knitting. When you're knitting, I know all you knitters that have knit for a long time, or even just a short amount of time, know this. But some newer ones might not have thought of this before. But when you knit, not only are you shaping, making a shape, you're knitting the fabric at the same time. It's not like sewing where you cut out your pattern in your shape. You know, the fabric, you go and buy the fabric, cut out the pattern, cut up your fabric to match the pattern piece, and then you sew it together. Well, with knitting, you are making the fabric with your yarn and your needles and the pattern and so on. So you can change anything you want by different weight yarns. Like a shawl is very easy to change. If you think you want a lighter weight one, use fingering weight, which I could easily do, because a shawl, this is triangular. So even an asymmetrical one, it wouldn't matter. It's just going to be smaller. I mean, you can play around with your needle sizes. If you want a little more flowy fabric, you could go with a fingering weight yarn and a bigger needle than recommended. And you can go vice versa. You can go chunkier and make a real warm, you know, just snuggly one. Just whatever you choose to do, it's all up to you. That's what the best thing is about knitting. It kind of shows who you are. I might be mixing up a little bit with these bright colors I've chosen for the Andrea Mowry brioche shawl, but you know what? I was just drawn to it. I was just drawn to it, so I'm going to do it, and I haven't cast it on yet. I got this done, and like I said, I was working on camisole number 2, and camisole number 2 is by my favorite things, knitwear. So I need to work on that, because I did have some comments on my episode 1. Some people had commented that they cannot wait to see how that camisole number 2 turns out, and how much they want to know how much I like it and how it went. So that's one nice reason, one good reason to have a YouTube channel. Is it documents things for me. And also, even if I have questions out there, I can ask any of you a question and you can help me with things too. And maybe I can help you with something that you might have a question about. So I did have a question that I'm putting out there for all of you. I think it was actually a very good question. One knitter had said that she does not have space to store her beautiful hand knits. And she was wanting for suggestions. She said she lacked drawer space. So she was wanting suggestions on maybe how to store her knitted items. So that's my question out there for you. If you put in the comments how you take care of your knitted items and how you store them, that would help her tremendously. I have some ideas too, but I'd kind of like to know what all of you think and help her along, because that's what we're all here for, is to help each other. I thought I'd pop back in and introduce you to our dachshund. Her name is Bella Grace. She's a little southern girl. She's from Tuscaloosa. She's our long-haired English cream dachshund, and she always seems like she's a little camera shy. Every time I try to take her picture or to do a video of her, she'll turn her head. So here we go. So I hope you can get a good look at her. She's our baby. We love her. And I did notice on episode 1 that you could hear her little tags just a jingling on her collar, and you could hear her digging in one of my bags that was full of yarn. You know, she never bothers my yarn. She's a good girl, but she's just nosy. She just wants to nose around in it. So we just thought we'd pop back in and say hi. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much for all my subscribers. I'm just blown away about how everyone's been so supportive of me, all my YouTube viewers, and all the likes and comments that I've received. And I just want to tell you again, I always like to end my videos and say, you know, keep knitting, don't give up, persevere. And you know, it's funny, I've heard of the phrase that says, win the day. And I told my husband the other day, I said, you know, I might say on my next episode, I might say, knit the day. And he went, oh, really? So I don't know. I thought I'd throw that in and just get out there and knit the day and enjoy yourself. And every day's a learning day. Every sweater, every project that you cast on, there's some learning to be done. And it keeps our minds alert, and it keeps it keeps the good mojo flowing, I guess I should say. So we say bye. We'll see you next time. Keep knitting. Thank you so much for being so supportive. Goodbye from Knitter's Niche. Bye-bye.